Hey guys, Tammy here, and in this video, we're going to talk about fault. Now, I want to dig into this a little deeper. I talked about it in a recent video, but I think that this is a very big topic that causes a lot of people to stumble. Let me just remind you real quick, if you like these videos and you find them helpful, please don't forget to hit like on this video and also subscribe to the channel so you're notified as new videos are released. Listen, we all would love to just feel like we haven't done anything wrong in our lives and that everything is the other person's fault or the other people in our lives' fault around us, right? That takes the responsibility off of your shoulder. In a way, it gives you the ability to just throw your hands up in the air and say, well, nothing I can do because this is all everybody else's fault and it's not mine. In some ways, that feels good, right? It takes the pressure off. It takes the responsibility off of you. But the downside of it is that it puts you into victim mode. And here's the problem with victim mode. When you're in victim mode, you can't change anything. You're stuck where you are. If everything in my life is caused by everyone else around me, then what do I have the ability to change? Nothing, because I can't control other people. So whether, we're talking about child custody issues and we're talking about our co-parent, or we're talking about our financial situation. And I know that's a big struggle for a lot of people in divorce and custody situations, or we're talking about, the terrible relationships we repeatedly get into or whatever. Again, it's easy to feel like it's the other person. I remember going into a therapy session, when my divorce hadn't even happened yet. Actually, my marriage was crumbling. And I went into the therapist and I said, I don't understand. I don't understand what God's doing. I don't understand why. I feel like my husband's being a jerk. My kids are at stages where they don't appreciate any of the ways that I'm working myself to death to try to improve their life or make their life better. I have this boss that's a teetotal jerk. And I just feel like everywhere I turn, I'm surrounded by all these like jerky men. Essentially, for me, they were all men. My boss was a male, my husband, both my kids were boys, So for me, everybody was a man at that time. And this is not a man hating video. I'm not a man hater. That's not the point. But just for me at the time, like this is how it felt. And I remember my therapist looking at me and saying, I only have one question for you. Why do you keep surrounding yourself with jerks? And, that conversation probably happened about 18 or 19 years ago now. And it's funny how that stuck with me because it had such an impact for me. And the reason it had such an impact is because it was sort of the first time that it had dawned on me that these are a result of my choices. The person I chose to marry, the person I chose to work for, the timing and the circumstances of when I chose to have kids, how I chose to have kids, all that kind of stuff. The reason I'm so, stressed and struggling financially and all that, I had kids young at that point. That's the stage I was at. And I had kids young and I was struggling and it was exhausting and all of those things. And so when she said that to me, it was sort of like this light bulb went off for me that said, oh, these are my choices, So if you don't like something in your life, you have the power to change it, but you don't have the power to change it if you're in victim mode and you're blaming everyone else around you and you're seeing everything as their fault. Again, blaming other people takes the responsibility off of us and allows us to just throw our hands up and say, well, nothing I can do. I'm powerless in this situation. It relieves some of that pressure of the responsibility. But again, you can't change it. This is your life and you're stuck in it. If everything is everybody else's fault, you can't change it. But when you move into that place of, wow, I made these choices and I take responsibility for that, and I start making different choices, then my life changes. So for me, in that moment, where I started was my job. I thought, okay, my boss is a jerk. I don't like this job. I don't look forward to coming to work every day. I don't make enough money, all the different issues that I had. And so I sat down and I started doing job applications. And it took a lot of applications. It probably took over 50 different applications. But I had a job within about 60 days, making about 25% more than what I had been making at my previous job. And I was in a job where I actually had a boss that was nice to me and that was kind and appreciated my work and all of those things. And so it was a total 180-degree shift in everything, in my finances, in my satisfaction in my job, and all of those things. But I had to make that choice in the first instance to change it. And I think sometimes we forget that something as simple as a decision to change it can have a huge impact. If I'm thinking, oh, well, I don't have a degree. I, don't have as much experience in this area. I don't have all these different things. Then again, I'm keeping myself stuck where I am and I don't have the ability to change it. So once I hit the point where nothing changed between the first job and the second, as far as my credentials, my education, my experience, none of that changed from the first job to getting the new job. Okay. The old job to the new job. Nothing changed with me except for my decision that I've had enough and I'm done and I'm out, and I'm going to find somebody that appreciates me, that appreciates my work, and that appreciates what I bring to the table. And so anything in your life can be changed, including your child custody, including your dealings with your co-parent. All of those things can be changed. How can you change them? By making a decision. Because once you make a decision that you're going to figure out how to do this differently, then it becomes a matter of finding the tools and resources and educating yourself. Okay, what do I need to know? What do I need to know that I don't know right now to be able to change this situation for myself? I know a lot of people start watching this channel and they say, Tammy, I didn't even know what a narcissist was until I went through this. I didn't know what it was like to have a high conflict ex. I thought everybody's ex was like this. That's what I thought when I went through my divorce. I thought everybody's ex is like this, right? Because I didn't know I didn't have any other frame of reference until I met Thomas. And then I went, oh my goodness, this is how a relationship was supposed to be. This was it. Like, this was so much, not that we didn't have conflict, we did. And it was other challenges because we were a blended family and all these different things. But we were both adults that took responsibility and worked on our own things instead of focusing on the other person and blaming them. And so the question becomes, in order for you to change what you're trying to change, again, whether it's your parenting time, whether it's your dealings with your ex and the anxiety and the stress they're causing, whatever it is, the change comes from you making a decision and then committing to that decision and finding the tools and the resources that you need to be able to help you change the situation. Because you deserve more than living in the stress and anxiety. Okay, I deserved more than being surrounded by all these jerks. It just took me figuring out that I deserved more than that. So I hope that this has helped you find that within yourself and understand that you do deserve more than the stress that you're under right now. And there are ways to change it. There are ways to fix it. If you'd like to learn more about my coaching services and how I can help you make those changes, you can schedule a free strategy session with me by going to divorceuniversityonline.com/VIP-coaching. And I'd love to chat with you and talk about how I might be able to support you in this process. See you guys soon.
We'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands.